Hello, Soul Fam. I have a little impromptu transmission for you right now if you've landed on this video. There's a lot of different random messages coming through, so I'm just gonna hit record. I'm out here right now. For those of you who have been following along, I've been on a nomadic traveling journey with my 2 fur babies, which landed me right now in South Lake Tahoe. And at the time of this recording, it's right before the 4th of July, so Friday the 3rd. So I've just been creating content and having my slow morning and drinking my matcha. The message that's been coming through this morning is you have to choose that you are worthy of the life that you know you're here to live. It gets to be better than what you actually plan, but it's not going to unfold by you trying to figure it out. That's the message that's coming through. It's not going to unfold by you trying to figure it out. I am literally living a previous prayer right now. Nomadic traveling with my fur babies in beautiful, gorgeous scenery, sacred luxury, nature, slow mornings, matcha mornings, you know, plenty of time to create and just be and fully, you know, be embodied in my feminine essence and open to receive what comes next. And this is what is available for you as well. When you don't try to figure it out and you're not trying to force it and you're not coming from the mind. I could not have planned exactly how this unfolded. And it was a surrendering and a letting go of the need to try to figure everything out. And it was a deep trust and faith in the divine nudges and the synchronicities that have been guiding me and aligning me on my path. And so this is the message that's coming through. It's getting really, the traffic here is going to pick up probably here really quick. It's Friday afternoon. It gets crazy here on 4th of July weekend. So I literally just carved out the perfect little spot to film this video. I just want to show you how gorgeous it is. Everybody's, you know, like, there's paddle boarding, there's jet skiing, there's, you know, just chilling by the water. There's the Beach Boys playing in the background. Literally, you're gonna live a life. That was the other thing that's coming through, that all you have is deep gratitude for all of it, because you're literally going to be living inside your answered prayer, and it gets to be better and better and better. And this is not about being greedy or like needing to be somewhere else. There is absolutely nowhere else I would rather be than right here, right now. And the thing I want to share about that is I also said that when shit wasn't looking like it was going my way. There was nothing I'd rather be than right there in the moment, trusting in the divine nudges before things started to materialize. I didn't resist reality, right? The message that was coming through was a saying that I've carried with me for a long time from a yoga nidra class, which I've also taught yoga nidra, but I would go to other people's yoga nidra classes. And by the way, I also have an audio yoga nidra class, so if you want that, let me know in the comments and I can get that for you, or you can opt into the newsletter at divinefemme.co and you can get my audio yoga nidra class. But one of the messages that has stuck with me for a long time from a previous yoga nidra class I took from someone else in Scottsdale was, I open my heart completely and surrender fully to what is. I open my heart completely and surrender fully to what is. If you are ready to accept that invitation, then I welcome you to drop that in the comments. I open my heart completely and surrender fully to what is. What does that mean? It means you're not going to resist what is. When you resist against reality, right, you're basically rejecting your creation. You created the reality that you're living in right now, and when you resist your current reality, you're basically rejecting your creation. And so in order to take all of your power back, in order to fully like sit back on your throne as the Empress, as the divine creator that you're here to be, you can't selectively sift through reality and choose that you like parts of it and you don't like other parts of it. You have to fully accept what you've created. You have to fully accept what is being reflected back. You have to not want to run from what is being shown to you. You have to have the courage and the willingness to sit in the discomfort, to illuminate the shadow, to see through the illusion. And that's not going to happen if you're resisting what the ego doesn't prefer, the egoic mind, right? It's not going to happen if you're constantly running from the reality that you're creating, or trying to repress it or suppress it or chase some other form of external validation, some quick fix, some little dopamine hit that you get from chasing or seeking outside of yourself, some false sense of safety, security, validation, or approval. The divine reality that is on your heart is destined for you. Reality has no choice but to reflect it back when you align with it. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. You have to be able to embody what it is that you're asking for. So the other message that's coming through is some of you are giving lip service to the universe, to the field, as if you're disconnected from it, you're separate from it, and you're waiting for it to align something for you before you take action, before you take the next step, before you surrender in faith, before you trust the call, before you follow the nudge, before you listen to the heart's whispers that are happening within you. They're very subtle. It's not going to be some like big aha where you gotta like, all of this happens in the micro moments, in the now, when you follow the nudge in the now, in the micro moments. Okay, so like for a current example is like, as I was driving here, I kept getting the download this morning that I needed to get a 6-foot selfie stick for my iPhone. I have a clue of what that is because the divine starts to fill in the gaps a little bit more as you continue to walk in faith. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the selfie stick. I don't know what it's for. I have a clue, I have an idea, but it's probably gonna be completely bigger than that. I'm hearing sirens right now, and sirens are always a big sign right now that it's time. Like, it's not like, all right, so this is a message coming through right now. The sirens represent, some people can listen to sirens and think like, oh shit, something bad is happening. Other people can hear the same siren and think help is on the way. Your perspective right now is everything. How you perceive and what you apply meaning to is everything right now. You're manifesting very fast if you've landed here. You're on the new earth timeline. You're going to be manifesting even quicker. Momentum is picking up. This fire horse year is not slowing down for those that are fully anchored in their truth. It's only going to add like gasoline to the fire, so to speak, and momentum is picking up. You don't have the luxury of sloppy thinking. You don't have the luxury of sloppy awareness, right? You are a focusing mechanism, and you get to focus your consciousness in a way that creates the reality that you're living in. And what you give power to through your thoughts, through your intention, through your awareness is everything. And you have a different way, you have different options of how to perceive everything that's happening in your environment right now, regardless of how it's playing out. There is something like your perspective, your perception is creating your reality. So that was a little side message that just came through. literally just so much gratitude is filling my heart right now for all of the moments where I never stopped. I didn't give up. I didn't, you know, despite all of the trials and tribulations, I have always connected with the deeper part, the knowing of what is possible, right? And I know you have this deeper knowing as well that's underneath and prior to all of the dramas and all of the traumas and all of the situations and circumstances that you may be finding yourself in right now that are what you would prefer to be, like you would prefer to call unfavorable. Your perception is unfavorable. I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about, and you have a choice. You have a choice to make on how you're going to perceive reality, and if you're going to continue to be at the level of effect, or if you're going to call all of your power back to you and be on your throne as the cause, as the divine creatrix that you're here to be, creating with and as the divine intelligence that is animating this very vessel that you call your body. You didn't manifest this video on accident. You called it through. The collective called it through. I answered the call. You're being guided to answer the call in your own way, whatever that is. When you stop applying meaning to everything and you just are here now, present, it gets to be very simple. It gets to be very simple. You tap into the knowing that is prior to all of this, and it gets to be very simple. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to experience growth and transformation and alchemy. You definitely are. That's part of the human journey. But this message found you right now because you are here to live your dream life. You are here to live your dream life. You are here to be an expression of the one in your most authentic way. These dreams are not random. They're in your heart for a reason. They're done. It is finished. As soon as you accept that and you choose that, and you no longer buy into the limited stories and narratives that the mind tries to sell you as a lie. The mind is a very good salesman, and it will sell you every lie, every untruth, every illusion, and try to sell you it as if it is fact. Every fear-based thought, every doubt. The mind is a very good salesman. But the infinite intelligence that knows is running the show. If you let it, you get to bite the carrot of the egoic mind as many times as you want and get sucked into another rabbit hole, looping in fear, doubt, confusion, trying to figure everything out. You're being asked and guided to trust fall with the divine, to tap into the divine essence and presence that you are, the kingdom of heaven within you. That is the only thing that will create the heaven on earth in the world of form. The world is a mirror, not a window. You can't keep looking out there when in truth there is no out there. You are not separate from the reality that you see. This is why you are being flooded with synchronicity right now. Synchronicity is the language of oneness. You can have a thought or an intention so subtle and have it pop into your reality in 2 seconds flat. Why is that? Because you are not separate from the reality that you see through the human naked eye. You are one with this. You're in constant communication with yourself, which is all of this. Because the true self that I'm speaking to is not your little separate egoic sense of self. It is your true self. It is the higher infinite intelligence that is prior to all of this. So back to what I was sharing earlier, there's a where it's not going to be like you're going to just like, there's just like these big things that are going to drop out of the sky for you, and like it's got to automatically, yes, there's big opportunities on the way, but this is you moving into your highest timeline happens in the micro moments when you choose yourself unapologetically, in the silent moments, in the quiet moments, in the stillness, in the moments where nobody else even sees them, right? It's not the big moments, and it's not like, yes, there's going to be big opportunities coming into your experience as you continue to show up for yourself and show up for your mission and show up for your calling and show up for your heart and show up for your truth and be a cooperative component of this reality. But the decisions and conscious choices that carry the most weight are the ones that don't get any applause, that are not for validation, that are not for approval, and there are not these big moments. And yes, again, you will have big moments. You're going to be stepping into a new level of visibility, and there will be big moments, big opportunities for you to say yes to expand even more, because expansion is the name of the game. This is not egoic needing more. This is just life expands. That's part of life. You're going to be called into new levels of expansion. So get used to riding your edge. Get used to riding your edge. Your comfort zone is not your friend right now. But it's in the micro moments when no one is listening but you and God, you and your heart, you and the divine within you. Those micro choices, those micro decisions that you then embody and actualize, that make the difference, that shift the trajectory. Otherwise, you're just giving the universe and the field lip service, and the field doesn't respond to lip service. Well, I guess I should say the field does respond to lip service, because basically it means that you're still going to get whatever you're embodying. And so by responding to lip service, what I mean is it's going to continue to give you what you don't want, because you're just saying it, you're not embodying it, you're not walking the talk, you're just speaking still from the separate sense of self that is rooted in lack, scarcity, and survival code. You're not going to be able to get into your highest timeline. And the word get is like not the best word, but it is what it is. I'm just free flowing here. You're not going to be able to step onto your highest timeline while still being tethered to your survival code. The other message that's coming through is this needs to be anchored, your divine reality needs to be fully anchored in the body. This message was coming through yesterday. You may be guided to a lot of nervous system regulation and somatic movement, fascia reconditioning, and this is divinely guided, because you're here to be a channel, and to be able to anchor the frequency in the vessel, you're going to have to release and unwind all of the trauma that's been encoded in the tissues, in your muscles, in your fascia, and be able to fully be anchored and grounded in your feminine, receptive nervous system that allows you to open, to receive, and hold more capacity. This is the whole premise behind Nervous System Rich, which is one of my actual virtual programs that has a cohort opening for July 8th, which carries you through Lionsgate season. It's going to be a very powerful manifestation portal for those that are resonating with this transmission. That's all I can say. If you feel called to it, the link is wherever you're listening to this. We start July 8th. You can DM me if you have any questions. When you're able to anchor in the body and open to receive and no longer brace against life and fully like allow like yourself to really rest in the fact that this is done, this is finished, and your dream reality is what you were destined to experience. There is no other shoe that's going to drop, right? You're not going to get the rug pulled out from under you. You don't need to brace against life. That you're not here to continuously brace against life. You're not here to hustle your way through life. You're not here to be anchored in survival threat prevention your whole life. You are here as part of the Sacred Feminine Rising Collective, and you are here to be anchored fully in your receptive feminine energy, which is going to require that it's also anchored. You're anchored and you're able to hold this new capacity, this new expansion in the vessel. So new levels of influence, new levels of leadership, new levels of wealth, new levels of power in the best way. Not power like dominance over others, but feminine power, power from within, empowerment, being able to fully hold that in the body, being able to expand the container to receive. And so the first thing that will come up as you are opening to this is it will feel very foreign to you to not have to worry about anything, to not have to have anxiety around anything, to not have to try to figure anything out or try to constantly brace against your worst case scenario. It's going to feel very foreign to you to be able to rest and regulate and relax into your soft, feminine, receptive energy. And this is a clear sign that you're on the precipice of really fully stepping into your divine reality. So if this is resonating with you, nervous system rich is for those that are walking the edge of their new identity, but they're still tethered to survival code. So this will feel like you know your divine reality is destined. You may be seeing glimpses of it, maybe not, just depending on where you're at in this alchemy. But your body is still anchored and tethering you to the old identity, and you're still running survival code. And as long as you're still running survival code through the body, you're not going to be able to expand into your highest divine timeline. Because your highest divine timeline requires coherence with your divine identity, which is the truth of who and what you truly are, which is love, which is abundance, which is expansion at your core. And if that's not what you're feeling in the body, if you're feeling tight, if you're feeling restricted, if you're feeling, dense or heavy, or you're constantly bracing, your body is still running survival code. It's not in alignment and coherent with your divine identity. I talk about divine identity, coherence, in basically everything I've ever created in one way, shape, or form, because it is the only thing really that needs to happen, is you coming into alignment with the truth of who and what you are, which is not the separate sense of self that you think you are, that you've been operating from, and that you fall back into when you slip back into your survival identity. So if this is resonating with you, then you are on the precipice of stepping into your dream life, and you are here to create your heaven on earth, your version of that. And it's going to require that you are fully integrated, self-actualizing your divine identity, which is a child of God, which is oneness in form, which is not limited, which doesn't operate out of lack or scarcity, which doesn't chase, which doesn't seek, which doesn't run from anything. Whoever's resonating with this transmission that gets into nervous system rich is going to expand into new levels that are beyond the mind. This is like anti-manifestation. The need to manifest falls away because there's no more lack or scarcity that you need to try to fill, right? The water's still a little chilly, but I can't wait to go paddleboarding. I'm gonna wait till after the 4th weekend though, after the 4th of July weekend to go paddleboarding. swimming. I hope this is resonating. If this is resonating and this was for you and you've made it this far into the transmission, please let me know in the comments. Drop me your favorite emoji. I love right now the yellow heart. The yellow heart just represents, or yellow, you know, the sun, the yellow heart emoji right now. It just represents so much joy, so much abundance. It's like the color of happy. It's the color of pleasure. It's the color of joy. Drop that in the comments if you're still listening to this and you've made it this far. Because you're walking towards your sun. So the image that just came up is the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups in the Tarot is the one that I'm picturing. You're walking away from all of your spilled cups and you're walking towards the sun. And the sun is your highest divine reality. The sun is the truth of who and what you are. The sun represents your ultimate divine feminine glow up. And it wasn't easy to get this far. You've had to alchemize a lot of shit to get here. To be resonating with this content right now, at this frequency, at this level of truth. That's where you're headed. That's what you're walking towards. You're walking towards the sun, which is the truth of who and what you are, which is your highest divine reality. And you're walking away from all of the spilled cups. You're walking away from everything that does not resonate with your authentic expression. You're walking away from relationships, you're walking away from jobs, you're walking away from careers, you're walking away from ways of being, you're walking away from like lifestyle choices, you're walking away from foods, you're walking away from like everything that is not in alignment with your highest divine expression. That's how you know that this is for you, right? Because you've been doing this inner alchemy for a long time. And it's time. It's your time. This is it. Like, it's time to choose it. It's time to fucking stop hovering on the precipice of your new identity and step fully into it. And it's going to require that you fully let go of everything that's not in alignment. And trust. And take the next step and follow the inner guidance. And show up for yourself unapologetically. And choose yourself over and over and over again. And I know a lot of you may be recovering people pleasers, and this may be hard for you to do, to choose yourself unconditionally. It feels selfish when you start to choose yourself unconditionally because you may disappoint others. This is another message that's coming through. You're going to have to be okay with disappointing others. You're going to have to be okay with being misunderstood. You're going to have to be okay with not getting external validation. The only validation that is necessary is you and you. You and the connection that you have with the truth of who and what you are in your heart. That's the only validation you need. There's nothing to seek outside of you because there ultimately is no outside of you. Everybody and everything showing up in your reality is a mirror, a sacred mirror, reflecting back to you how deeply you have met yourself, your true self. Whether in the form of relationships, money, clients, living lifestyle experience. And this isn't to cast, this isn't like this is happening on an unconscious level, right? It's not like you consciously said things out loud and now you're getting this like reality that you feel is unfavorable. No, this is happening on an unconscious level. It's happening from the programming. It's happening from the conditioning. It's happening from the societal expectations. It's happening from the very subtle levels of self-judgment or self-abandonment that are still flying under your radar. You are in direct communication with the field. You and the field are one. You are the field. And it's not picking up on what you say. It's picking up on what you be. promise it all starts to come together as you walk the path. This path is not something that can get figured out. You're gonna be challenged to take leaps of faith on yourself that get you out of your comfort zone. And they're gonna be like, it could be like even like the tiniest decision, but it's going to instill some kind of like fear in the body because it's getting you out of your comfort zone and your old patterning, and you're gonna have to get used to like that feeling of being able to break free from the old conditioning and the old patterns and the old survival code that's still running under the radar. Because this path is not something that you're going to get mapped out, and you're not going to know. The divine doesn't show you all of the puzzle pieces up front. You don't even want that. Your soul doesn't want that. Your soul is here to live a wild, fun adventure. Your soul loves a good plot twist. Your soul is here for a wild, fun ride. You don't want everything planned out in advance. That's just a separate self. Like 99% of the population spend their entire life trying to map out their life so that they can figure out how to mitigate risk and be, how to carve out some safety or false sense of safety, security, validation, or approval for themselves. And there is zero guarantee of any of that. And they experience plot twists too that are not part of the plan, because you can't plan this, but you can. The little separate self tries, and life still happens, does it not? So what are you really trying to safeguard against? Wouldn't you rather just live it now, to the fullest, in the moment, for what it is? You're not going to be able to plan 5 moves ahead when you're living from heart coherence, when you're living from heart-based consciousness. That only happens in ego-based consciousness, and ego-based consciousness is rooted in fear. It's fear-based consciousness rooted in separation, the illusion of separation. And it's the little separate self trying to make its way through this maze, thinking that it needs to like defend itself against the big bad world and figure everything out and safeguard against everything, right? And it needs to like attach to certain things in order to prove its worthiness or prove its lovability, right? Or attach to little things in order to give it a little sense of joy or like some kind of instant gratification, and then it needs another hit. What I'm speaking to is being able to be here and now, so present in the moment, living your life to the fullest because you're here living it and you don't need anything else or anyone else. And paradoxically, that's when things can flow to you effortlessly, because you become an instant magnetic match to what your heart truly desires, the desires that God placed in your heart, because you're no longer trying to create separation where there is none. The more you try to create separation where there is none by saying, I'm over here and I need to go out there and get all of these things in order to pull it into my experience so I can one day feel loved, safe, secure, happy, joyful, be at peace. No, you get to experience it now. You get to be here now in the moment and not resist life and not, again, I open my heart completely and surrender fully to what is. Don't resist your creation. Be here with it. And if you don't like the creation that you have, it's okay. You can be honest about that. You're not here to like spiritually bypass anything. You can be like, okay, that was a good storyline. I played out that storyline for a while. That was fun, right? I learned a lot from that storyline, but we're here for a plot twist now. So now you get to choose what you truly desire that lights you up, that is in alignment with your divine identity, which is going to be rooted in truth, freedom, and expansion. Not lack, limitedness, and separation and fear. I feel like the sun's a little in my eyes. I don't know if I should. Oh, that's actually more in my eyes. I feel like there's a shadow here. By the way, I put these on the podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast, hello. Come join us over on Divine Femme TV on YouTube, because you're going to get the messages a lot faster that way, because they're more in real time. They're still timeless messages though, so you can tune in on the podcast if you want. You'll still get the messages that are meant for you, but they're going to be a little bit delayed because I don't just post them right away. I post them in batches as soon as I get to it. Just a little side note for all of my podcast listeners, because I know some of you are podcast listeners. You DM me and you say you found me on the podcast and things like that. So come over and join us on Divine Femme TV. I hope this is making sense. The message that there was just a lot of heartfelt messages that wanted to come through that are speaking to the woman or man who happens to be tuning into this, that knows they're meant for more, and that you're teetering on the edge of this new divine, timeline, but you're still anchored in survival code, and you're still trying to figure this out. Once you surrender and let go, the need to be somebody specific, right, in order to be worthy of your dreams or the abundance or the love or whatever it is that you're still seeking, that's when it can unfold easily and effortlessly. Your only job is to follow the nudges, and they're not even going to necessarily make sense. They're not going to be, like I said, you're not going to get the full picture. And you don't want the full picture on a soul level. The soul is already privy to it, but like, you're here for the wild ride, right? Like, that's what you came into this earthly experience for. You didn't come here to like map everything out and try to like figure it out and try to safeguard against life in order to make sure that you're okay, right? You came here to live it, and the paradox in that is, as you do, life takes care of itself, and you are that. You are life, and life takes care of itself. And now there's no more like static signal that you're sending that's rooted in fear or doubt or scarcity or lack. So you can just receive what it is that is just the natural byproduct of the abundance that you are and the love that you are. And life has a way of unfolding, like, as you walk it. It appears underneath your feet as you walk it. I can't stress this enough, right? Like, the provision, the opportunities, the plot twist that like you didn't even know you needed until you needed it. And I know that doesn't sound fun to the separate sense of self. It doesn't sound, but you need to really get on board with the fact that you're not going to have this like false sense of certainty moving forward. The only certainty that you have is like what's in your heart and like what you know to be true for yourself. Right? That's really the only sense of certainty you need. You're not going to have like this false certainty by attaching to something out there, right, in the 3D world that you see with the naked eye. It doesn't work like that in the 5D. You're operating from heart-centered consciousness now, and you're teetering the line between ego consciousness, fear-based consciousness, aka survival code, and heart-centered consciousness, coming into alignment with fully actualizing your truth by surrendering the need to know, and like surrendering the need to understand everything, right? Surrendering the need to know from a conceptual level or from a planning level, and instead trusting the inner knowing. You're being divinely guided because you are all of this. You can't not be. Everything's divinely guiding you. And like I said, I don't know why I keep coming back to this, but there's some kind of action that you're being asked to take in faith, and it might not even make sense, and it might not even be something big, even though a lot of you are stepping into big opportunities that are going to lead to higher levels of leadership and visibility and wealth and abundance and influence and all the things. And that's just because you're here to impact a lot of people. You're here to impact millions on this journey, and so you're going to be expanded, and you're going to be stepping into higher levels of leadership and visibility. But right now there's micro decisions that you could be making. So like, for example, when I shared earlier, I've just been guided to get like a tall selfie stick, that's the action that needs to be taken. I don't have to know more than that. The next download that will drop in is going to drop in. I don't have to know what that is, right? I do have to be obedient to the nudges though. And so this is where I'll probably end this right now so it doesn't get too long, is you have to be obedient to what the divine is whispering through your heart. And it may be something very little, right? It doesn't have to be some big thing, right? You have to be obedient to that though. You can't just keep pushing it away. or suppressing it or running from it or waiting for it to all make sense. It's not going to make sense. You're not going to understand all this 5 moves ahead. I promise you that you're going to have more revealed as you walk in faith. The path unfolds under your feet as you walk it. Provision rises to meet you. Right? And as you do that, you open yourself up to divine overflow. So it's not like you're like living from this you're not like living from this place where like there's never enough and you always have to live on the edge and hope or something that things are going to work out. That's fear-based consciousness. That's lack, that's scarcity. It's no, and as you walk it, you will see, right? And as you walk it, you will see. And then you can expand into more. So I'm talking to someone that's on the precipice of stepping into their divine reality. As you start walking it, more and more will be revealed, but you're still not going to know. You're still not going to know the outcome because there is no outcome. It's just never-ending expansion. And you get to discern and decide with sacred discernment what you want to create. And there was a lot of decisions that led up to this, a lot of sacred decisions, a lot of sacred no's, and a lot of sacred yeses that didn't make logical fucking sense in order for me to begin to live what used to be a dream on my heart is now a lived, I'm living in a previous prayer, right? I'm living in a prayer that used to be in my journal for a long time. I'm living it now, but I also know that it gets to be better and it gets to expand into more. And that doesn't mean there's nothing but gratitude here for all of it, and you get to expand into more. And it's not like ego to expand into more, it's because you get to play and create. And how much fun can you have in this life? It's time to see how fun it gets to be, how easy it gets to be, how amazing it gets to be, right? You're not here to live in the old identity your whole life. You're here to experience how good and how easy and how beautiful and how abundant and how expansive this life gets to be. So, okay, this is very long. I was really just thinking this was going to be a short little drop in, but I hope you got value from this. If it resonated, please let me know in the comments. If you want support, then the cohort for Lionsgate for Nervous System Rich is July 8th, which carries you for 40 days into a deep calibration where you're calibrating to sacred wealth and being fully rich and regulated in the body to live a rich experience beyond your wildest dreams in all areas. And that includes calling in, yes, abundance, but richness of life means a lot of things to a lot of people. It includes a lot more than just financial prosperity. That's a part of it, but it really is about living your most authentic expression and a life that truly lights you up and allows you to wake up every day in your feminine, receptive, rich energy, fully regulated and receiving what it is you are here to create. You have to be the receiver of it now. I know you probably have been a really good giver throughout your lifetime, but it's time for you to be really receptive and in your receiving energy and grounded and anchored in the body, which represents the 3D world of form. And as you ground and anchor into the body, it can actually be reflected in the external world because now you have the capacity to hold it. Does that make sense? So if that resonates with you, reach out if you have any questions on Spiritual CEO, on Instagram at Spiritual CEO. You can also find the link to Nervous System Rich wherever you're listening to this. There's usually a link tree that has it, or you can go to divinefemme.co and click on Pathway, because the Divine Femme Pathway, that is one of the signature programs there. So, and if you want to come visit in person and do a lot of this calibration and embodiment work in person while immersed in nature and sacred luxury, then check out the Wild Femme Immersion, which is currently booking right now and includes 3-night stay in South Lake Tahoe. So I would love to play and create in the 5D with you in person if you feel called. So DM me if you have any questions, and until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.